Okay, before I sew, I need to go ahead and cut the tip of these D-ring holders just to give it a finished looking type of shape. Let's see here. And I just want to just give it a finished shape. And basically what that's doing is just cutting the tip. Just cutting that tip. And that's not straight. See how it gives the tip a better looking shape than just cutting it across. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cut two of these here just in case I may decide to use this color here. Make these the same size. Now what we can do is go ahead and go ahead and do our sewing. So let me get this out of the way and we can now do our sewing. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and sew these pieces on, and we will glue and sew this together, this part of this bag here together, and then we will glue and sew this one together. And I'm going to sew it. I want to make sure that my lining is not in the way. And I'm going to start down here from the bottom and sew all the way around. And I'm sewing about 1/8 of an inch seam on here. I'll do a back stitch. Like I said, I want to make sure that I don't sew through my lining, because that's easy to do. Now, one of the things that I always say is that I don't really teach designing, I teach craftsmanship. And lately I have been getting a lot of people ask me about do I teach designing, but I don't. Now, there is a guy that that used to do a lot of videos on YouTube. His name is Richard, and he don't do many videos on YouTube now because he started his online academy, and it's called How to Make a Designer Handbag .com. That is the website, and I will post the website in a link below. And if you get a chance, go and take a look at his online academy, because if you really want to get into pattern making uh, and how to design, this guy is really, really good with this. And I know at least 3 of his students. I mean, personally, I know 3 of them that have been watching our videos and have taken his classes, and they are making some of the most amazing bags because they're able uh, to construct and design, and then take the craftsmanship that we teach and combine those, and are really making some amazing bags. If you get a chance, take a look at this guy website and the classes that he teach on constructing and pattern making. Now, I can make a pattern, but my pattern is simple. He really get into constructing complex pattern that you will really, really learn how to make and construct patterns on your own. Now, I can take a pattern that you give me, and I can produce a beautiful piece out of that from the craftsmanship. That's what I do, is craftsmanship. So if you really want to get into the design part of this, that's the guy to check out. Some people around me will tell me not to say that I do not design, but in reality, I don't, because I don't see pictures in my head. And there are people that comes into the shop, their craftsmanship is nowhere near mine, but when it comes to designing and producing these bags with this amazing design to them, it just blows me out of the water. So I know what lane that I need to stay in, and that is the craftsmanship. And if you want to get into designing, check out Richard. You may have seen some of his YouTube videos when he was doing a lot of videos on YouTube, and I think his channel is How to Make a Designer Handbag. But like I say, now he puts most of his time into his online academy. Okay, now that we have this sewn on, the next thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and, do I need to do that? I'm not going to sew this right now because I need to be able to put the D-ring on before I sew it. Yeah, I want to do that. I think it'll just make it more easier to put the D-rings on. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this together, and then I will sew the 4 D-ring holders while I'm just putting a small amount of glue around the edge, and that's just to hold it long enough for me to sew it. I don't need to put a lot. So I will just put this together. I want to make sure that everything is even. And one thing about when you're doing this part here is always make sure your lining do not interfere, because it's so easy to sew the lining together. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch seam Okay, let's see what this looks like. think I need to just make sure. I'll push this out later, but just want to make sure. Let's go. I think I need to go back and sew up this seam here up to where it closes this here completely. See how this is open? That really should not be that way. And I think because I was kind of hesitant when I was sewing it, because I wasn't sure if I should sew that all the way around, but I do need to. So this is why I was hesitant right here. So I need to go back and sew that. I need to make sure I sew this all the way around. That's more likely what I'm supposed to do. But the mistake that I made is that I did not put, so I have to go back and take it out. I did not put the wristlet on, which is what's going to hold the D-ring in order for me to have a wristlet on here to hold the D-ring. That's what I did not do. So I have to take part of this back loose, well, back apart. Only thing I have to do is open up a couple of seams and put the wristlet inside. So I'll go back and do that, and that would allow me to be able to put the D-ring on here, and so I can sew both of them at the same time. But I'm gonna go ahead and sew one of these. There's no sense me sewing all four of them on camera. I'm just gonna sew one of them. Okay, these are going to be the D-ring holder, and it would also I would also make one for the wristlet. So I'll sew the rest of these off camera and then come back and sew the bag together. Okay, next thing I want to do is I need to change out my foot. Excuse me. Change out the foot so I can sew the D-ring onto the D-ring holder. And like I said, I could rivet it on, but I'm just going to sew it. And all I would do is just put a couple of stitches. Ah, wrong foot. Okay, now that I have the foot changed out, I'm just going to stitch this. So basically what I'll do, I would just do a couple of stitches across the top of this. So small, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to see. See here, what I'll do. I'll just do a couple of stitches forward, then do a couple of stitches back. Like I say, this is so small, it really doesn't take a lot. And really that's it. And I'll just pull these tight, cut it. Just burn this. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to attach this in between. I think I'll do it on this end. And it doesn't matter which side of the bag, of the wristlet, coin purse that you put it on. And you can put it up as high as you want and as low as you want. It just depends on where you want to put it. So because I have already stitched this, I'm going to just open up a couple of stitches, and I will open this up, and I will take this. I want to make sure when I open this up Okay. I want to make sure that it's facing in the direction I want it to face. So what you mean, I want the back side of this to be facing the back. So I'm going to turn it this way. Then I'll just turn this back over, like so. And then I'll restitch this. And when you stitch it, it could be going in an angle to where it's going up, or it's just going straight out. It's whatever you want it to be. But let's see here. So like I said, I'm just going to restitch this. And I may have to change the foot back. Okay. Now we'll turn this back to the right side and see what it looks like. I think we got it. Yeah, we got it. And we'll push this out as far as we can. This is what it's going to look like. Let's see here. This is what it's going to look like. Like I say, you can make this in any size that you want. And then what we will do, we will put the wristlet onto a spring-loaded hook that you can just hook this on and carry it around your wrist. So now the next thing we're going to do, oh, you know what? I need to go ahead and attach the D-rings onto here before I stitch this up. I can do it after I stitch it. I think I will. I think I'll attach them after I stitch it because it's easier to do it now, but for the sake of shooting this video, I'm going to do it after. I'm going to do it after. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue, just like I did the smaller version. I'm going to glue the front and back together, sew them, and then we will attach the back. Okay, now that I have the foot changed out, I am going to go ahead and glue I'm going to go ahead and glue this. I'm using the contact cement glue. And I'm just going to glue. I'm not putting a lot, just enough to hold it until I can sew it. The less that you put on is going to be the least amount you have to clean up. I don't think this leather here will be hard to clean the glue off of it, but it's all about habits. So I try to get in a habit of putting less glue to have the least amount to clean up. And you know, I do get questions about will the glue clog up the needle when I'm sewing? No, and I think one reason why is that what I try to do, I try to make sure that I let the glue dry for at least, you know, a couple of minutes, and I don't put a lot. So I want to make sure that everything is lined up pretty even. I usually do not do this at the sewing machine, but there's no sense in me resetting up the lights and the camera and going back over where I normally do this, because it's not going to take a lot of time to do this. So for the sake of shooting a video in time, that's why I'm doing it here. I should have gotten some clamps. Clamp this down. Okay. Now, the one thing I want to make sure is that I've got total control over where my lining is, that I don't stitch my lining. So I'm going to turn it on the side where all my lining is on one side. And that way I can see it at all time to make sure I do not sew through it. Okay, and I'm using just a quarter of an inch, an eighth of an inch seam stitch on this. You know what? I think I'm gonna do a quarter of an inch instead of an eighth. do about 3 back stitches. Yep, I should have put some clamps on this or glued both pieces of the leather, or both sides of the leather, because it's trying to come up on me, but I'll make it. Like I said, I want to make sure my lining is out of the way. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Well, what I should have done, I should have made sure that the zipper was unzipped. That way I wouldn't be having this issue right here. And that was one of the reasons why when I stitched across here, that locks in this zipper to keep it from coming off. And I really would have some issues. So when you're turning it, you just have to take your time. Should have had that zipper unzipped too. That will help make it a little So that's what this is looking like. See here. That's what this is going to look like. It's going to be a cross-shoulder bag, but it can also be worn would also be able to be worn as a clutch. So you have your pocket. And so now what I need to do is attach the D-rings and sew up the lining. And I think I'm going to use a chain with a hook on it for the strap. So really this bag here is done. Well, we're about 95% through with it. But I think I'm going to also make a zipper, a leather zipper puller for here and also for this zipper here. Okay. Okay, now that we have the bags sewn together, and this is what they look like. The front, the back, and with this bag, we will be able to fold it over. It can be worn this way or this way as like a clutch, or it can be worn across the shoulder. So I think what we will do is, for one thing, I should have edge coat around here so it doesn't have a raw look. So I'm going to put a little edge coat around here, and we're going to attach the wristlet to the spring hook, and I think we'll rivet this together. Let's see how we'll do that. I think we'll do it this way. I think we'll rivet it to where it's like that. So basically what I did, I just pulled the wristlet leather through the spring hook, folded it over, and then I brought this part over here, and I'm going to just punch a hole all the way through and rivet that. So that'll make that a nice wristlet. And then you can just attach it to the D-ring. And so I think we'll go ahead and get all of this set up, cut the chain, and the thing about making one of these, your strap can be out of the whatever leather you want it to be out of, or you can use a chain, or you can use a rope. I mean, it's so many different creative ways to make a strap for these. Now, if you're looking for different types of chains and that's good quality, different types of spring hooks, different sizes, Ohio Travel Bag is a very good place to find hardware, chains, different things like that, different type of embellishment. If you call them up, they will send you a catalog. Now, if you do not have a tax ID, just let them know that you are a student, and they will send you a catalog. So this is a great place to find hardware. Now, I think what I'm going to do think for the cross shoulder bag, I think I'm going to use a chain for the cross shoulder bag. So this will allow me to be able to put the chain on and take it off when you want to wear it as a clutch. So one way I will do that is that I could either use these type of hooks here to just kind of give you an idea. To attach onto here. I can use these type of hooks. These hooks are less expensive than the spring hook. The spring hook looks nicer. I personally like the spring hook, but you can also use these hooks here. These you can get at the leather factory. You can get them at Ohio Travel Bag. But they're very inexpensive. They come maybe like 50 to a pack, 100 to a pack. The spring hook, you buy these as individuals, but they come in all different shapes and styles, so that gives you, you know, a wide variety to choose from. Now, in order for me to attach the spring hook, first of all, I'm going to get the length that I want, and across the shoulder, and doing something like this, you almost have to custom make the size for the person. But if you make it longer than what you would normally make it, you can always cut it down for someone if they decide to purchase it and they want the chain to be shorter. You can always cut it down. It's better to make it longer than short, because if it's too short, well then people, you know, may not want it. But if it's too long, you can always cut it down. So I'm going to make this one here at least I'm going to make it at least 60 inches. At least 60 inches long. And so basically what I'll do, I will put the spring hook on here so I know this is where I need to cut this. Now this chain here is pretty hard to cut. You may be able to take some pliers and cut it. I normally use this Dremel tool. So what I will do is that I will have this cutter that I can put on here, tighten it down, and then I can cut this. But I need to get some pliers and my safety glasses. So whenever you're doing something like this, always wear safety glasses, because you are cutting this metal and you don't want that to get in your eye. But let me stop for a minute and I will get some pliers and the safety glasses so I can hold the chain with the pliers. Okay, I got my pliers, got my safety glasses on. Now, there are many ways that you can cut this, so whatever process that you use will work just fine. But for this type of chain here, and all the chains gonna have a place where the link was closed together. Sometimes you can just, for example, like this chain here, sometimes you can just open it without cutting it. I think I can do that with this. Yeah. See how sometimes you can just open that link and then you just can close it back. But this one is welded together some kind of way, and so but there's a mark there that shows you that's where it was welded together. So I'm saying welded, but there's no telling what type of process they use to seal that. So I'm just going to cut this. Just a little more. Okay. Now I can just take this, take my pliers, and I just open that up. Normally it doesn't just break like that. But anyway, so now that I have my chain, and the way I'm going to attach my chain to this, I could cut this, open it up, and close it back just like I did this. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use one of these jump rings. Take these off. I'm going to use one of these jump rings and these jump rings here, we got these from Ohio Travel Bag, and they are pretty thick. They have some weight to them. Some of them can be very thin. So I'll just open this up. Put the jump ring on here. And that's how I will close that. So I'll put one on the other end, but that's what I'm going to use for this bag here. But like I say, there are so many different choices you can use as far as making a strap. You can be as creative as you want, and you know, there's whatever choice you made, well, whatever choice you make, well, then it's okay. No matter if someone else don't like it, if you like it, it's okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to attach the two D-rings to the back, and I'm going to use rivets to do that. But before I attach them, I'm going to put just a little contact cement glue here, just to hold this down, so I'm not trying to keep it held down while I try to punch the hole. So I'm just going to use a little contact cement glue. Not a lot, just enough to hold it down while I punch the hole. Now I know some of you probably wondering, when will I close the lining? I'm going to do that last. I'm going to get the straps and everything set up, and then we will close the lining. Because that'll be very quick to do. But I just want to get this process out of the way first. Before we close the lining. Now, I didn't have to stitch these, but I wanted to just to give it a nice finished look. Now, it would have been better if I would have attached these here before I closed it. It would have just been so much easier, because now I have to put something inside and keep from punching all the way through. So it would have been better to do that. But I wanted to do it this way, so just in case you forget and close it up before you put these on, there's still a way to do that. And what's going to make that possible is that we left the lining open. So we'll take this, we'll keep these clamps on here for right now. Oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and glue this. I'm gonna go ahead and glue the wristlet. So when I'm punching the holes, I can go ahead and punch this hole. So I think I'll take this, bring this across, glue it. Again, I'm using the contact cement glue. Then I'll put a little glue on this end. And I will put a clamp on here, so in that way when I'm trying to punch my hole for the rivet, I don't have to worry about trying to keep it in place. Okay, so now in order to punch this hole, I'm going to open up the bag. The lining is still open. Pull it out of the way. And now let me get the pounding board. I'm going to punch holes through here. Okay, now that I have my pounding board, what I'm going to do, I'm going to punch the holes for the wristlet. And I'm just going to punch one hole, because all I'm going to put in here is one rivet. So I need to go through all three of these. Now I'm going to use a medium double cap rivet. So I'll pull this out. put the rivet through, put the cap on the back. So I put the cap on the back, and I'm going to use the hand setter, the hand press, to close it. Now these here, I'm going to put 2 rivets. So I'm going to punch 2 holes. I'll punch my 2 holes. Now I'm going to also use mediums on here because I'm going through 4 layers of leather. Okay, so now I'll just move my pounding board. Oh no, I still need it. I still need it. Because what I need to do is I'm going to need to punch holes in here. So basically what I'm doing, I'm taking the D-ring holder with the rivets through it, and I'm going to set it up to where I think what I'll do, the top of this holder here, I will line it up with the top of this overlaid leather here to give me some type of guide. So I'll just take that, I'll press down to get an imprint, and I'll just tap it so it doesn't disappear on me. And then I'll do this one on this side. Just tap it. But what I need to do, I need to get a piece of leather to put under here. That's too big. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do, I'll take this. When you get your pounding board, you may want to get you enough to where you can cut one up to make some small pieces. So anytime you have to do something like this, you have something to put inside. So now what I'll do, I'll punch these holes. And do one on this side. Now, what I'll do, put these 2 in. You can see they go all the way through. And then I will just put my cap on. Put this one on. I can move my pounding board. I'll take my hand press. It have the rivet die on it. So I can just take this, slide this in, press it down, do the same thing on this side. Now, we have our ring set up. But you know what? This one here is kind of leaning to the left just a little bit. So I'm going to pull that off. Well, just the top one. I'm just going to pull the top one off and redo that. I should have really looked at it before I closed it. It would have saved me from doing this, but so I'm going to pull this off. I'll put another rivet in and make another indentation for my hole. So I need to bring this over just a little bit. But you know what? Basically what I can do is just punch. What I'll do, I'll just punch a hole right here next to that. And that would allow me to adjust it where it needs to be adjusted. But I need to get my pounding board back. Put this back in. And I just need to just punch, and you won't see it from the outside, and you definitely won't see it from the inside. So basically what I did, I just punched a hole over it, and now that would allow me to adjust this to where it's straight. I could have acted like it was okay, but it would have looked okay on the video, but if someone come in to look at this, it wouldn't look okay. Okay, now that's straight. Get it again. Okay. Now I'll close it. Okay, now that's better. That's better. Now for this one here, I'll just close it. Now this wristlet will connect to that. So that's what that one will look like. And this one we have one side, then we will do the other side. Like I say, we will do the sew up the lining last because that doesn't take much time to do. So I'll just open this. Put this onto here. And then close it. And then that will attach to here. Now, keep in mind for these jump rings, a lot of time what people would do, people would try to open them up by taking the pliers and bending outward. What you want to do is that you want to take your pliers and one hand will go out away from you and the other hand will come towards you. It's like this. And then when you close it back the same way, and that way you will not disturb the shape of the ring. If you bend it outward, you're going to disturb the shape of the ring and it will not close back flush like it should. So always take the ring and you go in that motion. One hand away from you, the other hand coming towards you, and close it in reverse. And it will line right back up. So that's how you do those jump rings. A lot of people have a problem with those. Okay, so now that we have our straps done, what we need to do is our lining. So let me get everything out of the way. We'll set up the sewing machine and then we will do the lining. And after that, it's done. Okay, now that we have the bags sewn together, there's a couple of things I want to go ahead and do before closing the lining up. But this is what this looks like. I mean, they really turn out to be some good looking little bags. This is the little wristlet coin purse with a zipper. And this is a larger version that can be a crossbody bag. And this is what the back looks like. But I'm going to take the chain off. And remember, your strap could be a leather strap, just like I made the strap here. You can make it longer and just make you a leather strap. But there's, you know, like I say, there's many ways that you can make a strap for this here bag. Now, one thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and edge coat the top of this right here because it just have a raw look to it. And I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick because it's easy for me to go ahead and sew up the lining and forget to do these little bitty things. The other thing I did not do, I did not brand it, put a label on it. So I'm going to brand this before I forget also. So what I'll do, I'll just take a little edge coat. Like I said, all I want to do is just give this finished look. I really should have done this before I started working, we'll start sewing the bag together. Really before I even put the zipper in, because it's real easy to get this edge coat on my zipper. Just to give it a finished look. very careful. Okay, now that I have this finished, see that gives it more of a finished look. So the next thing I want to do is I do want to make a zipper puller for my two zippers. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll cut out a couple of pieces that are, I'll just cut them out as 3/4 of an inch wide, and I'll glue them and fold them, and those will become my zipper pullers. You don't have to do this, but I'm just going to do it just to give it a look. I think I'll cut out just 2 of them. And you can even make tassels for your pullers, or anything creatively that you want to do. You can make those pullers. I'm going to glue these. Okay, I need to get my glue. Okay, now that we have the zipper puller cut out, before I attach them, I'm going to go ahead and brand the bag. And what I have here is, put this on here so the heat doesn't mess up my board. We have the branding iron, and it's already heated up. And this is a step up, step down transformer. And you will need this if you get a branding iron from overseas, because anything that comes from overseas, it is a 220 output, and we have here in the US a 110 output. So we need to be able to bring this 220 down to a 110, so that's why you need a transformer. And we purchased this from LW Leatherworks on Etsy, and you can also Google their name, and their website will come up. But I'm going to brand this. I'm going to test it first. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So I'm going to brand it, because I did not brand this. I'll make sure I don't break my thread. Should have done this before I sewed it on, but here it goes. And I did just what I thought I would do, and that is I broke my thread. I hate I did that, but nothing I can do about it now. But anyway, I should have done that before, and I could have even went without even branding it. But Uh, that was a mistake that I just made. But I wanted to brand it just to finish off the bag. And like I say, I really hate that I did that. But there's nothing I can do about it now. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put the zipper puller on. I'm going to go off camera and sew it first, and then we'll put the zipper puller on, just so you can see how it's. Okay, what I did was I went off camera and I sewed the zipper puller. And basically what I'm going to do, I'm just going to glue this. And I will end up putting a second one on, which I will put a smaller one here on this puller here. But just to show you how I'm doing this, I'm just taking this, pulling this through. I want to turn it around because I want to finish seam was stitched to be on this side over here. I'll bring this all the way through. May have made it a little too wide, so it's not fitting in here as I would like for it to, but I'll see if I can work this. Okay, that's better. So that's your zipper puller. So that's how you would make a zipper puller if you wanted to, but you could, you can come up with whatever style you want, whatever look, whatever size you want. You can make it short, long, thinner than this. This is not even here. Want that to be, that's better. That's better. That's your zipper puller. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and sew the lining together. So we'll get this set up, then we'll sew the lining together. Basically what we're going to do is turn this inside out. So I'll sew the pocket first. could pin this, but matter of fact, I think I will. I'm just gonna go ahead and pin it down. Some people don't have to pin. I do. I need something to help me hold things in place. Take my pins out. Now this that's left over here, I'm just going to trim this off. That's going to be the outside pocket. And then what I will do, I will pin the lining itself, but I'm going to leave an opening at the bottom so I can flip this. And both of these will be done the same way. So if you see how this one is done, well, this one here is done the same way. So there's no different in what I'm going to do. Now, other people will do theirs different. I'm just showing you the way I do mine. Quite sure there's many other ways to do this. Now I'm going to only sew so far in the bottom, at the bottom, because I want to leave part of it open so I can flip it. Did just what I did not want to do, and that was to sew up the bottom, so I need to take that back out about right here. I need to leave that open. but I need to go back and do a back stitch right here. Now I was able to close this one up all the way up to here. Let's see here. I think I can turn around this way and do it. If not, I would have to go back and hand stitch that because I'm not able to sew all the way up to here. And I may not even have to, but I'll see. So basically what I would do, I will pull the lining through, well, the bag through the lining, so I can flip it. And you have to work this. Once I pull it through like this, then I can flip it. Because this is still open, I can get my hand off in here. Push everything out the way I want it. And this little bag could seem to be real popular now. A lot of people come into the studio with this. So see, this is open here, so I'll just take this and I'll close this up at the bottom and then I'll sew it. But because I have this green thread at the bottom, I'm going to redo my bobbin. I'll go off camera and redo my bobbin, and then I'll come back and sew this to show you what I'm just exactly how to close that up. But that's basically what you're going to do. You're going to just sew that, close it up. But I'm going to go off camera and redo my bobbin thread. Okay, what I did, I went off camera and redid my bobbin thread. Now I'm just going to sew this bottom here. I'm going to close it up. And really, that's it. The bottom of the lining is closed up. You have your pocket, the inside, put your strap on, the little wristlet strap, and that's it. Now we're going to do the same thing with this. We'll take this, turn the inside out, just have to be patient and you just work it. Just take your time. Flip it. I think I'll unzip this pocket, which will make it easier. To do what I'm doing. Now, just take this. Like I said, just take your time and work it. And the same process I just did with the smaller one, I'll do the same thing with this one. I'll sew the pocket first. Need to pin it. Like I say, everybody don't have to pin, but psychological, I just feel like that I have to pin now. Normally what you would want to do for your pocket is that you want to have the top part of the lining longer than the bottom. I cut both of these out the same size. That's why this one here is longer at the bottom. And see, because what's up here is really what you're seeing down here. So if I made the top one longer than the bottom, well, then when it folds down, they will come out even. But it doesn't bother me. I just cut it off. Okay, so we're going to sew this. Now, just like the smaller one, I'll just cut this off. So now what I'll do, I will just sew up the side of the bag lining. Look, I'll pin it. So like I say, I have to pin. and I'll leave part of the bottom open. Now the reason why I sewed it up to here instead of here is because this was cut. So I didn't want to have a little hole at the bottom of the lining. Okay, so now I'll take the pins out and I will flip it. I think I may have to open this up a little bit because it's pretty narrow. I don't think I can flip it through such a small hole. This. Okay, so now what I need to do, I want to just squeeze this. Flip this through here. It's basically what you're doing. You just kind of getting it through the hole. And then by squeezing it tight, it allows you to pull the lining down over the bag. See, once you pull it down over the back, and then that's when you do your flipping. I just kind of ball it up tight and just kind of roll it. And that allows you flipping much easier. And because you still have the hole in the bottom of your lining, that allows you to put your hand up in there and push everything back out the way it should be. And I'll just put my hand back in here, flip that out. And the same thing is that now just fold this over. And I'll close up the bottom. And this particular bag here, like I say, you can make it any size you want. You can make it as small as you want, as large as you want, and it's the same process. The exact same process. Make that less. Some people will close their bag up on the side. I like doing it on the bottom. And that is it. That is it. That's this bag. I mean, that's, move this out of the way. Where's our chain? Here's our chain that's going to go on the back of the bag. And this is it. This is the bag. This is the front, I mean the back, the front. It can be worn like a clutch. It can be worn this way. It can be worn across the shoulder with your chain. And this is the wristlet. Now, like I said, this is very, it's not hard to do. It's very simple. It's a very simple pattern. And you can make it as big as you want, as small as you want, as wide as you want. You can use the same process if you want to make an iPad bag. Well, really any style that you want for this. But anyway, if you have not subscribed, please do. If you know anyone that want to get into working with leather, or that are working with leather, and you want to show them something uh, something different and something new to them, pass this on to them. And again, thank you so much for supporting us by watching our videos, by subscribing, and by commenting. And again, thank you so much.